Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Speaking and Presenting in English with Professor Barry. We are doing week 6 today, but please note that we are skipping a couple of units in your book. So we are not doing unit 6, we are actually doing unit 8 today. So please remember that. We'll be skipping around a little bit in your textbook, so please be careful when you do your homework to make sure you are in the right place. And as you can see here, the title of this unit is There's a Giant Plasma TV in the Living Room, and you have a picture here of a huge TV in the living room. And as you might guess, in this unit, we're talking about things in your house. Furniture, appliances, electronics, things in your house, rooms in your house, and of course, prepositions also. So things like words like in, on, next to, between. All of those will be useful in this unit. Before we dive into unit 8, just a quick note. I've been listening to all of your homework assignments, your short presentations, and I am very impressed so far. You're really doing a great job with these assignments. Some of you are, I think, putting a little more effort in than others. Some students have very short presentations of like 30 seconds. So please, if your presentations have been very short, please try to make them a little bit longer, at least 1 minute, and up to 2 minutes if possible. But if you can do between 1 and 2 minutes, that would be great. All right, so I'll stop there for the introduction and let's get into Unit 8. On this slide, we have our vocabulary, some words for rooms in a house, common ones like living room, kitchen, and dining room, and then the study or office, bedroom, and bathroom. We also have some common furniture here like couch. In English, you can call a sofa a couch or sofa. You might also have a table and chair, a bed, computer desk, a nightstand, lamp, dresser, closet, TV console, a vanity, a sink, window, and the word screw here is here as well. A TV console, if you look in the picture over here on the right, you'll see that is a piece of furniture that holds your TV and other electronics if you have them. And there's also an example of a nightstand, which is this little piece of furniture in the circle here that is located next to your bed usually, and it might have a lamp on it and maybe a drawer like this one, and maybe you keep a book there, or maybe you put your phone there before you go to sleep. That is called a nightstand. We also have some prepositions of place. These are useful to describe where things are. So on, in front of, behind, under, on top of. These are not all of them. There are also ones like next to, between, things like that. There's also a few sentence patterns here. So for example, is there a Momo in your bedroom? Is there a vanity in your bedroom? Are there any plural noun, windows, chairs, couches in your living room? And there's a lamp, there's an alarm clock, there's a book on my nightstand. So there you have some common sentence patterns using some of this vocabulary and these prepositions of place. So let's dive into our conversations, our dialogues in the next slides, and see how we can use some of these words. Okay, in this slide we have two people talking, Nancy and Mother. We'll read it first and then go through the comprehension questions together. So Nancy says, "Hello, Mother, come in. Welcome to our new apartment." Mother says, "Nancy, it's awesome. You and your husband Jim did a good job of finding a nice place." Nancy says, "Let me show you around." Mother says, Nancy." Then Nancy says, "This is the living room. We bought a new couch, coffee table, plasma TV console, and computer desk." Mother says, "Nancy, before you show me the apartment." Then Nancy jumps in. "And here's the bedroom. That's our new bed. And there's my new vanity. Mother, you look distracted." And Mother says, "Nancy, where's the bathroom?" So Nancy is very excited to show her mother her new place, and her mother is excited to see it, but she has something she needs to do first before she can enjoy the tour. So we've got some questions here. We'll start with number 1. So what is Nancy's relationship to the visitor? And you might have guessed it is her mother. So the visitor is Nancy's mom. Number 2, what does Nancy do immediately after her mother comes to visit? Well, she says, "Let me show you around." And then she takes her to the living room and talks about all of the furniture. So she starts showing her mother around the apartment, taking her to different rooms and explaining what they bought. Number 3, I made a little fix here. It should be, what furniture do Nancy and Jim have in their apartment? And there's a whole list here. They have a new couch, a coffee table, a TV console, a computer desk, a bed, and vanity. If you're wondering what a coffee table is, it maybe sounds a little strange, but that is usually kind of a low table that sits in the middle of the living room, kind of in front of the couch. So it sometimes has magazines on it or books, and you can put your, if you're drinking coffee, you could put your coffee down there. We'll have a picture of that in another slide, and I'll point that out when we get to it. Finally, number 4, what does the mother need to do? Well, what does she ask here at the end? She says, "Nancy, where's the bathroom?" So she needs to use the bathroom. She needs to use the bathroom. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And we have 4 discussion questions. So these questions are not for you to answer using that dialogue. These are questions about you and your life that you can answer for yourself. So number 1, do you live with your family in a home? Do you live with a roommate in an apartment? Do you live alone? And I'll give you my answers as a sample answer. In my case, I live with my family, and we live in an apartment in Daegu. We have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment in Daegu. In your case, some of you might live with your family, some might live with a roommate. Maybe you live in an apartment, maybe you live in a dormitory, 기숙사. Probably not yet, because we're not back on campus yet, but just some examples there. Number 2, what furniture do you have in your bedroom? In my case, there's a bed, a bookshelf, a nightstand, and a dresser. The dresser is for clothes. Number 3, do you have a bed in your bedroom? Do you have a computer desk? Do you have a dresser? Do you have a chair? Do you have a lamp? Do you have a TV? Oh, that's kind of tricky there. There are several questions in number 3. So let's take a look and see what I have. So I do have a bed and a dresser. I already mentioned that. I have a computer, desk, and chair, but those are not in my bedroom. They are in my office or study. And there is a lamp on my nightstand. I do not have a TV in my bedroom. Finally, are there any windows in your bedroom? Yes, there are floor-to-ceiling windows. So the windows start at the floor and go all the way to the ceiling. And because of that, it's very sunny in the morning. It's easy to wake up in the morning because the sun comes through those windows. All right, so you go ahead and practice answering those questions for yourself in your situation. Okay, here we have one more dialogue. This is Jim and Nancy again, but Mother is not there. Just Jim and Nancy. So let's imagine the mother has left and now these two are having a conversation. So Jim says, "Oh, honey, have you seen my glasses?" Nancy says, "They are where you last left them." Jim says, "I know that. Are they on the kitchen table?" Nancy says, "I don't see them in the kitchen. Have you looked on the computer desk? Also look behind it. They may have dropped between the desk and the wall." So there you have the prepositions in the kitchen, on the computer desk, and between the desk and wall. Jim says, "Not there. I also checked on the coffee table, under the couch and bed, on the dresser, and even in the bathroom sink. Someone stole them. I think the elves took them." So Jim is just making a joke here. Nancy says, "Did you look on top of your head?" "Ah, okay, I found them." And then Nancy says, "Jim, you would lose your head if it wasn't screwed on." So his glasses were on his head the whole time and he didn't realize. Have you ever done something like that? That has happened to me before. Actually, it was not with glasses, but with a baseball cap. I was looking everywhere for my baseball cap. I did not realize that I was wearing it, so I felt pretty silly. And then that's when Nancy says, "You would lose your head if it wasn't screwed on." So apparently Jim loses things often. And she says, if your head was not attached to your body, you would probably lose that too. All right, let's see what we've got here. So number 1, what did Jim lose? Of course, we know he lost his glasses. Number 2, where did Nancy look? She looked in one place. And she said, "I don't see them in the kitchen." So she looked there, just in the kitchen. You'll notice Nancy didn't really try very hard. I think she's a little frustrated with Jim, so she just quickly looked around the kitchen and didn't see them. Where did Jim look? Well, he looked everywhere. He looked in the kitchen. He looked in the bedroom, coffee table. So he looked everywhere. And where did he finally find his glasses? They were on his head. On his head. Okay, let's go ahead and check out the discussion activity. So number 1, before you go to bed, where do you put your phone? Number 2, where is your alarm clock? Number 3, do you have anything under your bed? And what things are there? Number 4, where do you put your computer? And number 5, where do you put your socks? So I'll give you some of my sample answers here. So in my case, I always listen to podcasts before bed. So I put my phone next to me. I usually fall asleep with my phone right next to me. Number 2, where is your alarm clock? I've got 2 alarm clocks. One is on my phone, as you'll see here. I have lots of alarms set because sometimes I have trouble waking up early in the morning. I also have a small alarm clock on my bookshelf. in front of the picture of my son Noah and his Yuchiwan graduation picture. Number 3, do you have anything under your bed? No, I do not. But when I was a kid, I kept my baseball card collection under my bed. I kept all my baseball cards under my bed, but now I have nothing under my bed. Number 4, where do you put your computer? Well, my computer is on my desk in my office. It's always there. It's there right now. And finally, where do you put your socks? I keep my socks in the top drawer of my dresser in the yellow drawer there. Okay, so those are my sample answers. Go ahead and think about how you would answer these 5 questions. Where do you keep your things? Okay, that brings us to the presentation portion of today's lecture. And I've got some pages here from the textbook that explain what the presentation will be. In this one, you're going to pick a room in your house or apartment, and you're going to use your vocabulary words and some adjectives and prepositions to talk about the furniture in the room. And you should make a simple PowerPoint for this one and put some pictures of these things in there so we can see them. There's a brainstorming chart over here and a sample presentation script, which I will use for my sample presentation. You also have some useful expressions down in the box at the bottom here. For example, today I'd like to talk to you about my favorite room. For example, my living room is very momo. There is a or there are, and when you want to say what's in the room. And then if there's something on the wall, you can use hanging on the wall, across from, in the middle of. There are a few. My favorite part, we have momo. So you'll see how I use these expressions in my sample presentation, and maybe those will be useful for you when you make your own presentation. Again, my presentation is a little bit long. Yours does not need to be quite this long. But as I said in the beginning of today's lecture, try to make it between 1 and 2 minutes. If you can go over 2 minutes, that's great. But it should be longer than a minute. All right, so let's get started and I'll give you my presentation. Good afternoon. Today I'd like to talk to you about my favorite room in my apartment, my living room. My living room is very spacious. There is a giant leather couch in my living room. It's very comfortable. Next to the couch is an armchair. That's where my dad relaxes after work. Hanging on the wall above the couch is a large picture of my family. Across from the couch, there is a 100-inch plasma TV. It's great for watching sports. We don't have a TV console, so the TV hangs on the wall. In the middle of the living room, there's a coffee table. There are a few magazines on the table. The living room is also filled with plants and trees. My mom loves nature, so she tries to make the living room green. But my favorite part of the living room has to be the window. We have a huge floor-to-ceiling window with breathtaking views of a nearby lake and the downtown cityscape beyond it. There are many rooms in my apartment, but the living room is by far my favorite for these reasons. So, what is next? As always, leave a short comment below this video. That is your attendance. Number 2, read Unit 8 in your textbook. You can find that on Canvas in the Files section under Unit 8. The pages you need are there. Number 3, write a short presentation about a room in your house or apartment. And you can use pages 69 and 70 in your textbook to help you. And also use my example presentation from slides 8 and 9 to help you. You can just follow my example. And finally, record it. It should be a PowerPoint with audio. And you can send that to me via email or by Kakao. Either one is okay with me. Whatever works best for you is what you should use. And as always, if you have any questions about anything, send me a Kakao message. Before I forget, the due date for the PowerPoint will be Friday, April 24th. So Friday, April 24th. Please send that PowerPoint presentation to me by Friday. Okay, and again, if you have any questions, send me a message on Kakao and I will get back to you right away. So thanks again for listening to this lecture. I hope you have enjoyed it and have learned a lot. And I look forward to hearing about your favorite room in your house or apartment. Until next time, bye. Couch.